What if one product launch made the future of filmmaking as easy to type as a grocery list? Welcome to Unboxd Origins. I'm Howie, your resident science geek and accidental trivia sponge.
And I'm Wyatt. I ask the big questions. Sometimes philosophical, often skeptical, always curious.
Today we're digging into how did OpenAI Sora kick off the text-to-video gold rush? All right, let's lay the tracks first. For years before Sora, the world of generative media was a tapestry of one-hit wonders and slow, incremental engineering. Text-to-image models like DALL-E, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion taught people a new language. You could write a sentence and get a picture back. That milestone rewired creative workflows and loosened the barrier between idea and artifact. But moving from still images to moving images introduces a devilishly different set of problems. You don't just need plausible pixels, you need motion that obeys physics, consistent characters, camera continuity, audio synergy, and temporal storytelling. Solving all of that at the fidelity people expect from film and viral short video requires both monstrous compute and clever architectural shortcuts. Sora's story begins in that crucible. It was the project that asked, how do we make motion from text feel like intention, not randomness? The engineers and researchers chasing video generation tried everything. There were autoregressive models that predicted frame by frame like a typewriter, diffusion models that progressively denoised frames toward a target, and hybrids that combined long context transformers for scene layout with per-frame image generators for detail. A bunch of them produced snippets, a few seconds here, sometimes a coherent few-shot character animation there, but none scaled into a system creators could reliably build a story with. What changed with Sora wasn't an entirely novel physics law. It was a practical stack of tricks that marched forward together. Large video text datasets, innovations in cross-frame attention mechanisms, temporal latent spaces that encoded motion as trajectories instead of discrete frames, and heavy optimization on model distillation and compression all converged. The result, a system that could accept a paragraph, not just a caption, and output a 30 to 60-second clip with coherent character motion, consistent lighting, and camera moves that didn't make your eyes weep. Another piece of the puzzle was integration. Early models required an engineering degree to coax out a good result, tuning sampling schedules, balancing guidance scales, or stitching frames manually. Sora was rolled out with a production mindset. It included a prompt engineering language for scene structure, per-shot control knobs, think camera angle, pacing, lens type, and intermediate artifacts like storyboards and shot lists generated automatically. Creators could iterate, tweak the scene description, request a different camera move, or ask for a longer cut and get predictable changes. OpenAI also deployed clever runtime economics, progressive generation, where the system first produced a low-res rough cut to confirm timing, then rendered higher fidelity on demand. That made experimentation cheap and fast. Suddenly, independent creators, small studios, and advertisers could prototype moving ideas at a fraction of traditional cost. Social dynamics matter too. By the time Sora hit the scene, short-form video platforms were hungry for novel content. Attention spans had been trained on quick, arresting visuals. Sora's outputs were not just technically impressive, they were inherently shareable. People posted short cinematic snippets from prompts like a neon-soaked koi pond in a floating Tokyo market, camera gliding past, synthwave soundtrack, and the clips blew up. Those early viral cases did more than demonstrate capability. They rewired expectations. If a weekend creator could produce a polished microfilm that accumulated millions of views, the creator economy's gears started turning. Tools, templates, and marketplaces sprouted overnight to help non-technical users package Sora outputs into monetizable formats. Ad assets, social shorts, animated thumbnails, and product demos.
Aha! Here's the twist everyone missed while gawking at the pixels. Sora didn't just start a technology gold rush. It unlocked an economic one. The runaway effect came not from the model alone, but from the intersection of capability, distribution, and monetization. The model made content creation cheap, platforms made attention cheap, and payments and sponsorship networks made attention convertible to cash. The real chain reaction was cultural as much as computational. Once creators realized they could turn one typed script into multiple ad-optimized cuts, story-driven shorts, spin-off clips, and even derivative UGC templates, Sora's outputs became raw material for entire micro-industries. That was the overlooked condition. Technology needed a market that could immediately capitalize on the speed and scale of generative video.
Exactly, and that feedback loop amplified investment. Venture capitalists and major studios observed a new multiplier. For the cost of developing a single Sora-based creative engine, a company could service thousands of creators and harvest millions of micro-engagements. Startups followed with tools for mass personalization, automatically retargeting a base clip with localized text and product shots, synchronous collaboration suites for remote directors and animators, and marketplaces for plug-and-play prompt templates crafted by professional writers. On the research side, Sora's public demos accelerated academic and open-source projects too. People adapted generative pre-training to temporal tasks more aggressively, pushed forward on video compression backends for streaming generated content in real time, and built better safety filters for potential misuse. The field was racing on 3 tracks: creative workflows, commercial tooling, and technical robustness, and Sora was the locomotive that pulled the rest along. We can't gloss over the friction. With great generative power comes delicate risks. Creators and platforms grappled with deepfake concerns, copyright ambiguity, and the ethics of synthetic person creation. Initially, a lot of the discussion centered on, can this be used to impersonate someone? But quickly expanded to provenance, consent, and attribution. OpenAI and ecosystem partners responded by layering content provenance systems, imperceptible watermarking methods, and API usage policies that limited certain impersonations and requested verification for commercial licensing. At the same time, legal frameworks lagged. Courts and regulators were suddenly asked to apply decades-old IP law to artifacts generated from learned patterns across billions of frames. That uncertainty generated a second-order market: authenticity verification services, legal-as-a-service consulting for creators using generative video, and marketplaces promising license safety for commercial brands. These industries grew fast because the underlying creative engine had outpaced the governance infrastructure. It's also a subtle technical lineage to highlight. Sora didn't appear ex nihilo. It stood on a stack of incremental but crucial improvements: better contrastive learning for aligning video segments with multimodal text, temporal attention kernels that gracefully scale to dozens of frames, and training curricula that taught models not just what moves, but why objects move given a prompt. Some teams introduced mid-level representations, call them scene graphs or motion primitives, that let high-level planners sketch out trajectories and then let per-frame diffusion handle the details. The breakthrough was combining symbolic-like planning with raw pixel synthesis. This hybrid approach made the output both controllable and beautiful, and it meant people could ask their model to camera pan from left to right as light fades over 5 seconds and actually get that cinematic coherence. The result: a toolset for storytellers that felt less like a lottery and more like a predictable instrument.
Aha! Another angle! The psychological shift. Prior to Sora, people tested generative tools as novelty experiments. Once the results began to feel narratively credible, creators stopped seeing the model as AI as tool and started seeing it as collaborator. That mental switch is crucial. Collaboration invites routines, contracts, and economies. When you view the model as a member of a creative team, you hire it. You give it recurring tasks. You build workflows around its strengths. And you monetize output consistently. That change in perception is what converted a burst of amazed tweets into sustainable businesses. Sora didn't merely impress, it habituated people into treating AI as reliable, creative labor.
All of this accelerated the gold rush in predictable and unpredictable ways. Predictable: lots of companies building derivative models, verticalized services for niche industries, think legal explainer videos, personalized learning animations, dynamic ad insertion, and an arms race for better fidelity and lower latency. unpredictable, cultural remixing on a massive scale. Entire online genres popped up that leaned into the uncanny aesthetics of early generations, turning AI artifacts into memes, art movements, and even political commentary. Creators used Sora to simulate bygone film styles, reconstruct lost visual aesthetics, or satirize cinematic tropes, creating new forms of expression that were both a technical showcase and a social commentary. Why does all of this matter beyond the headlines? Because Sora's story crystallizes a broader pattern. Whenever a technology reaches a tipping point of accessibility, fidelity, and integration with existing attention economies, its impact multiplies. The model itself is part of the story, but the ecosystem, platforms, creators, marketplaces, regulations is what turns capability into cultural and economic transformation. Sora is a case study in how an engineering product becomes a social phenomenon.
In short, Sora lit the match. The tinder was the global creator economy, and the dry wood was the infrastructure of attention and monetization. The gold rush that followed was inevitable once those conditions aligned. Accessible tools, predictable outputs, and a marketplace hungry for shareable stories. And importantly, the rush forced industry-wide reckoning, better provenance, new legal norms, and practical ethics, all born from the same momentum that made cinema as a text possible.
So, takeaways. First, technological leaps are rarely single-bullet events. Sora succeeded because it married research advances with product thinking, making a usable pipeline, not just a curious paper. Second, timing matters. The platform and creator landscape were primed to convert technical novelty into real-world value. Third, the cultural and regulatory aftershocks teach us that innovation without governance can create new risks as fast as it creates new opportunities. Sora didn't just change how videos were made, it changed the economic calculus of creativity.
And remember this, the story of Sora is less about one model and more about an ecosystem updating its toolkit. When technology opens up the ability to tell stories faster and cheaper, societies adapt, sometimes messily, sometimes beautifully. The responsible path forward is to keep asking not only what can we make, but what should we make and for whom? That's the Siddiq question hiding inside the glittering rush.
If you like this trip through the history and hypotheticals of Sora and the text-to-video gold rush, hit like, subscribe, and share, and tell us what generative product you want us to unpack next. So what if one product launch made the future of filmmaking as easy to type as a grocery list?